Today is the day you switch to Rite Aid for one simple reason. Wellness Plus, the card that gives you credits you can use like cash. Plus, discounts that only members get. Plus, 20% off almost the entire store. Plus, that's for a whole year. Plus, rewards that start today and pile on every time you shop. So, if you're tired of missing out on all the pluses only Rite Aid delivers, visit RiteAidWellness.com to sign up and learn more today about Wellness Plus. Rite Aid. With us, it's personal.
The Battery, modern-day fire, powering everything from remote control cars to the car in your garage. So when your car battery is reaching the end of the line, or you're wondering whether it is, stop by Advance Auto Parts. We'll test your old one for you, free of charge. And if you purchase a new Autocraft battery, we'll install it for free. Only if you'd like us to, of course. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage.
Most vehicles, most locations. See store for details.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today. Old Town Tavern in the heart of Phoebus is your place for a great lunch and dinner, specializing in fresh seafood, burgers, sandwiches, salads, appetizers, and much more. Open daily, Old Town Tavern has live music, pool tables, darts, HD TVs, and a most pleasing atmosphere. Find them on Facebook. Visit 31 East Mellon Street in Hampton with plenty of parking in the back. Call 251-2636, 251-2636, bringing great food and great people together. Old Town Tavern, the locals' choice. Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Glad you're with us for another edition of Sports Scene every Wednesday, 12 to 1, right here on News Talk 1650 WHKT. Type in WHKT when you go to tunein.com, listen on your phone or your computer every Wednesday. Save the date, 12 to 1, Sports Scene, live, local, regional, national, international sports talk and beyond. We talk it right here on News Talk 1650. Also want to invite you to sports highlights on nnpstv.com for my sports interview TV show. This is your home for CBS News. Tell your friends about 1650. Twitter, at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com. Thank you to our military guest lineup as well, powered by Active Computers in Chesapeake. Sponsors on GJBTV.com, Marketplace sponsors, the homepage as well, and of course Marketplace 1, 2, and 3, right there on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com, the place locals and tourists go to find all the great places in one central location, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Phone line presented by Old Town Tavern in Hampton. Sponsors this month on WHKT, Old Town Tavern, Fink's Car Care, Battlefield Guns and Ammo, and Crawl Space Doors. Of course, GJBTV.com. It's my website, also HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Thanks to our fan forum several weeks ago. They did a great job. Of course, you can hear that on YouTube by going to GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link. And, of course, all the great highlights coming up, what teased me off, and some great guests. Stay tuned. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to talk a little bit of everything on this show. This is your show in Hampton Roads, Sports Scene, every Wednesday, 12 to 1. We'll be back after these messages.
Your family and their safety are your number one priority. Your homestead and your business and quality of life can give you peace of mind, but there are some bad hombres out there. Keep it all safe with the proper firearms and ammo from Battlefield Guns and Ammo. You can't take anything for granted, whether you're at the ranch or out on the trail. Call 757-410-7720. Log on to battlefield-guns.com and visit Battlefield Guns and Ammo at 240 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake.
Nor'easter season is here. So don't get all wet.
Protect your house. Call Crawl Space Door Systems at 363-0005. Reduce your flood insurance, reduce the threat of mold and insects, and save energy. Crawl Space Doors, air vents, flood vents, vent covers, and fans can help you stay dry or get you dry quickly. Contact Crawl Space Doors for more information at 363-0005 or online at crawlspacedores.com. Stay dry, my friends.
Fink's Car Care is your place for all of your automotive needs. They handle state inspections, brakes, tune-ups, oil changes, transmission service, radiator repair. They have a wide variety of tires, and when it comes to your car, they do it all. Visit their 2 locations at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth and 2236 South Military Highway in Chesapeake. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right, welcome live right here to News Talk 1650, your 10,000-watt powerhouse in the Virginia Beach area, anywhere in Hampton Roads in the Mid-Atlantic. News Talk 1650, your home for CBS News. Also anywhere nationally on TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT. We get the great guest here in the Hampton Roads area. Well, having gone to George Mason, very familiar with this next gentleman, longtime baseball analyst in the Mid-Atlantic, had a big background in sports media and radio and TV. You see him on Masson as well, talking about Phil Wood. Phil, welcome to Virginia Beach, my friend.
My pleasure, Greg.
Always good to see you. Saw you a few weeks ago as well. Look forward to seeing you down the road as well at Nationals and Orioles games. And tell us about your background, Phil. You've had a storied career in radio and TV, both in the D.C. and Baltimore area. Your image kind of mirrors the Orioles and the Nationals.
Well, I got started in the business in 1973. I went to college in Tennessee at Austin Peay, which has produced a number of major league players over the years. But really, to be quite honest, I never had an eye on a career in media. I got a degree in English and history. I was going to be a school teacher, but when I got out of school, there was a glut of teachers in the market. So I woke up one morning and I said, well, I bet it'd be fun to work in the media. So I ended up getting a job as a news writer at WTOP in Washington and did that for 4 years, and I went to another station as a news writer and producer, and they ended up putting me on the air. And I guess because I used to spend a lot of time talking to the sports guys about sports, they thought, well, maybe he could fill in sometime. So sure enough, in '78, they put me on the air, and I've been on the air ever since. I went from a fill-in one Saturday afternoon, and then basically to a full-time on-air broadcaster since then. So I started covering baseball actually before I was on the air, where they would send me over to interview players and bring back a tape and cut it up and find, some audio bites for the regular sportscasters. So I started covering the Orioles in '73, and then I moved on to Lit Baltimore in the early 1980s and started doing a radio talk show there and covering the Orioles again. And I went back to the D.C. market in '92 when WTEM started, the all-sports station, and worked there. And I was kind of the designated baseball guy and went on the road with the Orioles in '92, which was an interesting experience. But when baseball came back, when Major League Baseball moved the Expos from Montreal to Washington, I was kind of in a unique position because the other sportscasters in the D.C. market were all kind of football-centric. And I went from working and covering everything to only doing baseball, and that was fine with me because that's where my passion was. And so since the Nats came back to town, all I've done is baseball. I did a little Ravens football, I guess in '05 and '06, but after that it's been completely baseball. And obviously I've seen this team go from 100+ losses to more than 90 wins.
Yeah, talking to Phil Wood right here. This is Sports Scene. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us live on the radio, live online at 12:14. rain on this very humid Wednesday here in Hampton Roads. My sister lives in White Marsh. First of all, has the rain finally stopped up there, Phil?
Yes, actually, the sun's out. It's a gorgeous day.
Very good, very good. Well, you talk about how things are connected. When I worked for Red Zebra, Snyder owned the station here in Virginia Beach. He still has stations in D.C. and Richmond, of course, and you mentioned some of those outlets. It's just funny how the media and the internet now has connected everybody more so than ever. Sometimes the transparency is good, Phil. Sometimes it can be negative.
Well, I think in the case of Mr. Snyder, I think there's a perception that a lot of the people who work for him in radio can't be totally objective. I'm not sure that's the case, but again, that's the perception that a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say this. In all the years he owned the station in Virginia Beach, and people don't realize he owned it from 07 to 13, he never stepped foot down here. So he really has not, I can say that from a former employee, never stepped foot down here. And he, of course, he has the stations in Richmond and D.C. because they have the football camp in Richmond as well. They just are concluding. Well, let's talk about baseball here. I mean, right now, Phil, here we are, middle of August. Scratch my head. The Orioles are in a good position. The Nationals don't have the Braves or the Reds on their back like they've had in the past in August. What is the new managers doing that some of the other managers have not gotten right, at least in August?
Well, I think in Matt Williams' case in Washington, and he'd be the first guy to say that he hasn't done everything right. He's still kind of learning on the fly how to handle a bullpen, et cetera. But I think he's had a pretty good mix of players. I really think it comes down a lot to the makeup of the players. Mike Rizzo, the GM of the Nationals, is very big on makeup, and he'll tell you when he first took over as GM in March of 2009, this was a club with horrible makeup, and I think that he got rid of the bad actors and did the best he could to bring in some veterans who could kind of stabilize things, and he's done that. I think certainly he's drafted well. He's developed players well. You saw last night young Michael Taylor making his major league debut with a base hit and a home run at Citi Field against the Mets, and he's a guy who I think will be in the Nats' regular outfield certainly by 2016, if not sooner. But this is a guy in Rizzo who came from a scouting background. You see a lot of young GMs these days who are the kind of slick, polished, sabermetric type guys. Not that Rizzo isn't into that, because he certainly is. He has his own staff of statistical analysts. But here's a guy who used to drive hundreds of miles every week to look at kids play baseball in high school and college, and his dad had the same lifestyle, Phil Rizzo, and I think that he certainly worked his way up. He did a great job running the Arizona Diamondbacks farm system, got that club into a World Series with their own players. And I think that here he's done pretty much the same thing, used the same formula. Now, obviously, if you lose 100-plus games 2 years in a row and have the top pick in the draft 2 years in a row and the best players in the country are Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper, it doesn't take a genius to say, I'll pick those guys. But it's the other guys that he's picked up. You look at a guy like Tanner Roark, who he got in a trade with the Texas Rangers, was a 25th-round draft pick of Texas, and had some bad years in the Nats farm system, but they saw something in Roark they thought was going to finally emerge, and it certainly did last year. Again, you look at Taylor, who was not a particularly high draft pick, not a number 1 or 2 guy, but a guy who they thought was going to make it, and fairly quickly. And he went from A ball last year, high A ball, to double A ball this year, set the Eastern League on fire, was just promoted to Syracuse, and then, of course, with the injury to Steven Souza, got called up. But, pitching is what it's all about, and I think most people agree that pennants are won and lost with starting pitching, and I think right now the Nats have the best starting pitching in the National League. Certainly, I look at the Dodgers as being very, very solid there as well, but I think the Nats, in terms of top to bottom, particularly with the job that Fister's done this season, has been just remarkable.
Yeah, and of course the postseason is a totally different story. We're talking to Phil Wood of Masson. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us live on the radio, live online on this beautiful Wednesday in Hampton Roads. And you mentioned Strasburg, of course, and Harper. Harper kind of reminds me of a Johnny Manziel a little bit. Kind of has that little air to him. He seems like he's matured a little bit. He's gone through to the bumps and bruises. Strasburg, the hype seems like it's definitely down compared to several years ago because of injuries and just trying to bounce back and be consistent. But, the Nationals have had a lot of managers since '05, whether it's Frank Robinson or Acta or Davey, of course, and, of course, Williams now. But a lot of the core baseball players have stayed there with Zimmerman, Rendon, Worth. They've all been there for a while. So there has been some consistency with the Nationals. Now they're looking to be consistent in the postseason.
Well, everyone remembers Game 5 of the 2012 NLDS where they're up 6-0 and they end up losing the game. And that's a loss that I put more on Davey Johnson than on any of the players, because I think that what worked for him in Game 4 didn't work as well in Game 5. I think he left Gio Gonzalez in that game too long. I think it was a mistake to bring Edwin Jackson in out of the bullpen that night. What happened to Drew Storen was unfortunate. I think in Storen's case, he gave up some hits, but none of them were particularly hard hit balls. And when a guy like Pete Kozma beats you with a blooper to right field, it's tough to live with. But it's an educational experience every step of the way. So I think they learned a lot. I think last year they learned more when the expectations were again so high. But I think last year's problem in many ways was when Davey Johnson announced before the season started he was retiring at the end of the season, he in essence made himself an interim manager. And I think that there was never really a sense of urgency last year, and they fell behind to the Braves very, very early. And they dug in the hole, and they finally started to dig out of it, but it was too late. There was only about 50 games left. They played exceptionally well, but they gave a preview of what was to come this season.
But it seemed like he had that lame duck status. Did Rizzo have anything to do with that, you think, even earlier than that?
Well, there are some reports that Davey actually, after going to the playoffs in 2012, was interested in a contract extension beyond 2013, and the Nationals were not as interested. I think part of it was they felt he had done all he could do with that club, and that what happened in 2013 they thought might happen again in 2014. So
I got you.
And look, Matt Williams and Mike Rizzo go back many years when they were both with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Matt Williams was a guy that I think Rizzo had his eye on as a manager, despite the fact that his only managerial experience had been in the Arizona Fall League. So, Williams is a guy, they call him the old Marine. I mean, he's tough. He's also a guy who has incredible self-control. Having covered baseball for 40-plus years, and you go in some managers' offices after games or wherever they're holding their post-game press conference, and I can tell you, there were some questions where a guy like Earl Weaver would rip your head off. But Matt Williams gets asked some questions along the way, and you can tell he's kind of seething on the inside. But he kind of pauses for a second, whether he counts to 3 or whatever. But then he exhales and he gives an answer. Now, it's not necessarily the answer to that question, but it's an answer that kind of satisfies the reporter who asked it. I think there's if we knew what went on behind closed doors with Matt Williams, I think we'd see a different side of him, because I'm sure he's not an easy writer on the players.
Well, and he wasn't easy as a player either, as well. As we're talking to Phil Wood of Mass and Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. This is Sports Scene right here with Ken Johnson, right here up until CBS News at 1 o'clock. And of course, he was kind of a hothead. Didn't he get in a wreck while he was talking on the radio on his phone?
Well, actually, yeah, he was. He had pulled off to the side of the road, to talk on his cell phone to a morning radio show in Washington, and he was rear-ended.
Right.
So,
yeah.
He wasn't in motion at the time, but it was one of those things. He reacted rather calmly to the entire thing. He just kind of said, "Oops, well, somebody just hit me." So
I'm sure you could do in your 40-plus years a story just on interaction. I mean, even Davey was a little bit more mellow with the Nationals compared to when he was with the Orioles or so forth. But so many different managers have come and gone. But we mentioned, how about from this area alone? I mean, the players that are on the map: Verlander. Of course, the Tides are part of the Orioles in AAA right here in Norfolk. Sure. Then you got the Upton brothers from Chesapeake, David Wright, Zimmerman. They're all from Kadire. Even he's not talked about as much as they are, but they're all. I mean, Wright, is the face of the Mets. Zimmerman's been the face of the Nationals. Both kids are from this area.
If Kadire was with a bigger market team, it'd be a different story. Of course,
sure.
He's hurt now.
Right.
But, he went to Colorado and really found the stroke. But, it's an interesting situation. The state of Virginia has produced a lot of major leaguers over the years, and certainly the Tidewater area probably more so in the last 25 years. But like I do a Saturday morning show on Madison with a left-handed pitcher named Mike Wallace, who came out of Madison High School in Vienna, Virginia. And when I was in high school and he was in high school, he was the Stephen Strasburg of Northern Virginia. And he got to the big leagues and had a short career, but he pitched for about 5 years in the majors and about 10 years overall in pro ball. Jim Lemon, who managed the Senators in '68, but he came out of Covington, Virginia. And, you know, there's any number of guys who came from various parts of the state. You know, I look at Virginia as really one of those areas that Major League Baseball kind of overlooked for years. When Northern Virginia was trying to get a major league team, and people in other parts of the country were kind of throwing their hands up and saying, "Virginia, really?" And I'd say, "Well, wait a minute. You know, look at all the minor league clubs in the state that have flourished for years. You know, look at the college baseball programs that have been so successful and produced a lot of major league players over the years. People in Virginia like baseball."
Sure. Our area is known for the oceanfront, Virginia Beach, and great athletes, but doesn't mean we have the money to spend, meaning the general public, to go to these games compared to Nationals, Orioles, the Capitals, the Wizards, so forth. Just a totally different area, although this is a big metropolitan area down here as well. Talking to Phil Wood from Masson. You see him on Masson TV. And that's a couple of topics real quick before we let you go, Phil. The whole Masson controversy with the Orioles and Nationals and Peter Angelos. What's the latest on that?
Well, I don't know anything more than has been in the paper. I mean, obviously, it looks like it's headed for a showdown in court. I think Bud Selig would prefer that not happen. Of course, he's in Baltimore right now, and the owners are meeting here to elect a new commissioner of baseball. And he said yesterday that he hoped that the whole situation would be worked out before he left office in January, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that.
Sure. And what do you think is going to be the next manager?
Again, that's so far out of my pay scale. I have no clue. I can tell you as somebody who works for Masson that they've really gone out of their way in Masson management to make sure it's a 50-50 proposition that. We do this afternoon show, the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report, and they divide the topics right down the middle. So the show is 50% Orioles, 50% Nats. But it's one of those things that I think the perception in the D.C. area is because the Orioles essentially, or at least the Orioles owner, will always own the majority share of Masson. That's somehow going to not be in the Nats' best interest in the years to come. I mean, it's one of those things you need a time machine to find out the answer. But
no question.
What's going on now is. Again, this is something for the lawyers to settle.
Talking to Phil Wood right here on Sports Scene. Of course, you talk about the Redskins and the Ravens, 35 miles apart. Nationals, Orioles, pretty much the same type of fan base from those both teams. But it seems like for the Ravens fans, since they didn't have football there for so long, a lot of them were closet Redskins fans, especially the ones that lived in College Park and further north as you get to Baltimore. They did root for the Redskins. But the Orioles Nationals, that's kind of an interesting dynamic because the Nats are still less than 15 years old. What is the fan base? Seems like there are some that like both.
Oh, there's no question.
Sure.
In the stands, you'll see people with Nationals T-shirts and Orioles caps and vice versa. You see a lot of Nats caps in the stands at Camden Yards when the Orioles are playing somebody else. People who grew up with only having the Orioles as the closest major league teams, a lot of them didn't drop the Orioles completely, but they became, primarily Nats fans because they could go to more games quicker. Basically, it was more in their area. But I still, it's an interesting dynamic. For so many years, people in Baltimore were, they certainly thought, well, D.C. lost a team after the 1960 season that was replaced in 61, and then that team left 11 years later. So that must not be a very good baseball town. But the point is, the quality of baseball in Baltimore was, from the time the Orioles got to town and were competing against the Washington Senators, it was consistently better in Baltimore than it was in Washington. Washington was very much bottom-line oriented. They didn't spend a lot of money on scouting. They didn't spend a lot of money on salaries for players. The entire front office of the Washington Senators in 1970 was about 21 people. So, it's one of those things where you put a competitive product on the field, and I said this for years on the air. I was kind of the lone voice in the wilderness in the D.C. media, but I said, if you put a competitive product on the field, people here will show up. Well, clearly that's happened. Right now, the Nationals are outdrawing the Orioles, and they're averaging about 33,000 fans a game. So it's clearly a solid Major League Baseball market, and I think once they finish redeveloping the area around Nationals Park, it'll be a real destination site.
Yeah, I think it was obviously better now for the Nationals. We got a CBS News break coming up here in just a minute now that they're winning, because a few years ago, you remember Andy Pollin and them were just ripping the Nationals big time before they were losing, and on the sports talk stations up there as well. There's just a lot of media people kind of, and even the fans, Phil, it's like, don't forget, we're the Orioles. We've been here. We've done that. You're still the little stepbrother too, kind of, the Nationals. It seems like there's still a little air, especially when Buck's managing, that type thing.
Well, with all due respect, most of the people who were, ripping the Nationals early on in their history, most of the D.C. sportscasters were so they had so little baseball acumen.
Sure.
I never took any of them quite seriously because they could never really back it up. They couldn't, the point that baseball has a richer history than any other sport, and when you talk to someone who is a major market sportscaster and they can't identify the name Don Larson,
oh God,
that's where it's like, okay, fine, you've kind of exposed yourself now, so just be quiet.
Hey Phil, can you hold on during the CBS News real quick?
Okay, sure.
And then we'll come right back and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Ken Johnson, all yours.
Coming up on CBS News and back with Sports Scene in just a matter of moments. Update at 12 o'clock opening of the James River Bridge did go through. Traffic back to normal there, but another James River Bridge opening coming up at 3:30 this afternoon. A lot of road work. The road and lane closures on 264 eastbound right around Wichita Road, and that's causing a big backup through the interchange. CBS News is next with an update. It's 12:31 on AM 1650.
CBS News Update. I'm Steve Kathan. A summer's worth of rain fell on parts of New York's Long Island since last night, sparking flash flooding.
It came so fast, it went up to the middle of the carport. My husband had just gotten the cars out. The backyard is completely flooded, but then it goes all the way down the block.
Some places got around a foot of rain, and it turned parkways and streets into rivers.
There were cars actually seen floating down the roadway. So numbers of people, scores of people having to be rescued.
Firefighters and motorists pitched in.
I pulled that lady out of her car right there. It caused a giant wave, so I went out to yell at her, and meanwhile she asked me to pull her out of her car.
Flooding in parts of New Jersey, too, says emergency official Mary Gepfert.
We did get a significant amount of rain, between 6 and 9 inches.
Some parts of Maryland got 10 inches of rain yesterday. Baltimore's 6.3 inches, the most for a single day there since a 1933 hurricane. CBS News Update. I'm Steve Kathan.
All right, back right here to News Talk 1650. Thanks for that CBS News Update, live right here on the radio at 12:32. Greg Bicouvaris along with Ken Johnson. Final two questions for Phil Wood. So, Phil, we mentioned at the top of the interview, Orioles and Nationals both in first place, really don't have a lot of heat on their back. Do you think it's pretty much just status quo till the postseason, or is still plenty of baseball left?
Well, you've got about 45 games left, Greg, and I think we've seen too often where teams have what looked like a comfortable lead and then it kind of dissipates. A 5-game lead for the Nats is terrific. You think back a couple of years when they had a 2.5-game lead on the Braves, and the Braves were coming to town to play 4, and the Braves won the first 2 handily. Then the Nats came back and won the last 2. So the Braves left town in the same position that they were in when they got there. You've got 6 games left with the Braves, but the Braves, despite the fact that they took 2 out of 3 from the Nats this past weekend, certainly were not dominant. When they had that 7-0 lead, they almost lost it. The Nats came back with 6 runs of their own. I look at the Braves as a somewhat flawed team. I think they've got some terrific players, but I think they have some holes in that lineup. As far as the Orioles go, first of all, I'm not shocked that they're in first place. I guess I'm a little surprised they're as far ahead as they are, because I thought Toronto would hang a little tougher. But the Yankees that the Yankees are over 500 is remarkable given the personnel that team has right now. But I think the Orioles are in a pretty good spot. Again, we don't know what the extent of this injury to Manny Machado is going to be. I mean, they're saying it's a sprained ligament, but that could, if any kind of a sprain indicates at least a slight tear. So will he be out for 2 weeks? Will he be out for, a month? That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But they've managed to fill in when other guys have been hurt. So I think the Orioles are as close to being a cinch for first place in the American League East as they can be. And I think the Nats are probably about 80% there.
And Machado and Zimmerman, both superstars, both the face of the franchise, it seems like, but both are injury plagued. Finally, Jeter and the Yankees in town, of course. Buck managed the Yankees way back. Still, it's kind of an awkward situation talking about the Yankees. I don't know why it's been so long, and he's managed, other teams since then as well, including the Rangers. What's the relationship now like? And, of course, with Jeter there seems to always be drama. But it seems like I've noticed, too, Phil, that we're talking to Phil Wood, that the reception for Jeter in some places is good. Other places, they really don't care.
Yeah, actually, I think Jeter's fairly popular in Baltimore, but Buck, for whatever reason, does just not like to talk about the Yankees.
Yeah.
We had Buck on the show on the anniversary of Lou Gehrig's farewell at Yankee Stadium, and I tried to get him to say something about what it was like for him when he managed the Yankees, and was the specter of Gehrig over that franchise and stuff, and He just basically said, well, I really only want to talk about the Orioles. Well, I wasn't asking him really about the Yankee personnel. I was asking him about Gehrig. But, I mean, and, of course, Buck was a former first baseman in the minor leagues in the Yankee system. But, he's a little touchy about the Yankee thing. And, by the way, Buck's another guy with a Virginia connection, although you look at his record and it says he grew up in Florida. But Buck's dad went to high school with my mother at Radford High School in Radford, Virginia.
A small town, I take it.
Yeah, Radford is right near Roanoke, and when Buck was with the Yankees, I brought that up to him. In fact, I brought him a copy of the Radford High School yearbook that had his father's picture in it. His father was catcher on the baseball team, and I said, how often do you hear from people in Radford? He says, when I got the Orioles job, he said, I heard from a lot of people I'd never heard of who all claimed they were cousins, but they all wanted tickets.
Let me ask you a final question, Phil.
Yeah.
The length of the game gets a lot of media discussion. Keith Olbermann talked about it yesterday. The kids under 30 don't have time 4 to 6 hours during the week to go to games. What are your thoughts? Does baseball need to do something about the length of the game? It seems like we live in a fast-paced society where we really don't have time to even go buy groceries. What are your thoughts?
Well, television is the reason that the games got so long, because it extended the period of time between innings, and that's understandable. Television is kind of paying the freight for everything. I do think they could do something. I'll say this. I think as far as the replay rule goes, I think once the manager strolls out to the umpire, that's got to be considered his challenge, because we've seen too many managers who will stroll out there 4, 5, 6 times a game, and then they'll turn around to get the thumbs up or thumbs down from their bench coach, and they stroll back. But it interrupts the flow of the game. I'd like to see something done to prevent managers from just running out there every opportunity they get if there's a bang play at first base.
Phil, thanks for your time, talent, and treasure today. Thanks for enlightening us about baseball and in the Mid-Atlantic, and we'll talk to you down the road. Hope to see you at the Yankees-Orioles game next month.
My pleasure, Greg. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Phil Wood right there from Mass and Ken talking baseball. And, of course, let me talk to you about our sponsors, Tacos Mexico, 7460530 in Newport News, Restaurant y Taqueria. Go by and see Barbara and the staff at 13677 Warwick Boulevard in Newport News. In the Denby section, tacos, tortas, burritos, enchiladas, gorditas, quesadillas, chimichangas, desserts, great food, great taste, all the great side dishes as well that you want. Of course, great entrees, great service, open for lunch and dinner, whether you like beef and rice and beans, carne asada, she's got it all. Of course, polo, chicken, shrimp, seafood, it's all right there at Tacos Mexico, Newport News, 7460530. Go by and see Barbara and the staff right there at 13677 Warwick Boulevard in Denby. You'll be glad you did. Ken, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back after these messages.
When it comes to automobile service and Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today.
Nor'easter season is here, so don't get all wet.
Protect your house. Call Crawl Space Door Systems at 363-0005. Reduce your flood insurance, reduce the threat of mold and insects, and save energy. Crawl Space Doors, air vents, flood vents, vent covers, and fans can help you stay dry or get you dry quickly. Contact Crawl Space Doors for more information at 363-0005 or online at crawlspacedores.com. Stay dry, my friends.
Your family and their safety are your number one priority. Your home, your business, and quality of life provide peace of mind. Your security can be enhanced with the proper firearms and ammo from Battlefield Guns and Ammo. Never take anything for granted, whether you're at home or away. Call 757-410-7720, log on to battlefield-guns.com, and visit Battlefield Guns and Ammo at 240 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Old Town Tavern in the heart of Phoebus is your place for a great lunch and dinner, specializing in fresh seafood, burgers, sandwiches, salads, appetizers, and much more. Open daily, Old Town Tavern has live music, pool tables, darts, HD TVs, and a most pleasing atmosphere. Find them on Facebook. Visit 31 East Mellon Street in Hampton with plenty of parking in the back. Call 251-2636, 251-2636, bringing great food and great people together. Old Town Tavern, the locals' choice. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene right here on News Talk 1650, your home for CBS News and Hampton Roads. Greg Bicouvaris along with Ken Johnson right here on the radio in the middle of summer. Enjoy the weather while we got it, folks. Go to the beach, get some yogurt, whatever you guys got to do. Hope you enjoyed Phil Wood right there from Masson, Ken. He was really a great baseball guest.
Outstanding as always.
Absolutely, of course. And right now we're going to talk to our business spotlight, Catherine Kelley. She runs Yogurtini in Newport News. And, of course, you go to HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. You can see her link right to her website. Catherine, how are you on this Wednesday?
I'm doing well, Greg. Thanks very much.
Very good. Tell us about your background. You had kind of a career change based on your LinkedIn page. Talk about Catherine Kelley, how she got involved in the yogurt business.
It was definitely a career change. Yes, I had been in the insurance business for 15 or so years, and my husband and I decided to do something a little different and partnered with a cousin who had gone into the frozen yogurt business, and that was, I guess, about a year and a half ago. And so here we are running the store in Newport News, and we actually have a second one in Williamsburg as well. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Just go to HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. You can see her link. It'll take you directly to her page. Of course, wonderful Facebook page, too. Talk about your address and your phone number and all the good stuff.
Sure. Yeah, the Newport News store, it's in a great, convenient location. We're in CNU Village, which is right on Warwick Boulevard, right in the center of the Christopher Newport campus. And we are open there Sunday through Saturday, 7 days a week. From 11:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and the store has a great variety of flavor. We always have 16 flavors of yogurt going, and over 70 toppings, and it's just a lot of fun and a good healthy option for your sweet tooth.
Absolutely, and you talk about that in our business spotlight with Catherine Kelley of Yogurtini, and congratulations for all the entrepreneurial work that you and your husband have done to make that career switch, like you said. But talk about the different flavors, and Catherine, you hear these words a lot more: artisan, organic, gluten-free, sugar-free. I mean, my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I watch my sweets. I still like my Diet Coke. I'm sorry I do, folks, but I mean, people love their yogurt, and even my sister's 1-year-old daughter likes yogurt.
Yeah, well, frozen yogurt, it is a healthy option. It has all the healthy probiotic, values to it. It is, it's true yogurt. It's not a powdered mix or anything like that. But we do always, in the store, we always have at least 2 flavors that are sorbet, which means they are dairy-free, so those are good for the folks that are vegans or maybe they're, can't tolerate dairy products. So we always have 2 of those. We always have a flavor that is a no sugar added. So if you do have to really watch your sugar, we have that option there. And most of our flavors are fat-free. There's a few might have 1 or 2 grams of fat, but not much. So, and when you get over to the toppings bar, there's fresh fruit and nuts, and then there are the things that are a little sweeter and but we won't count those calories.
And you're open year-round, even during the fall and the winter, correct?
We are. We are open year-round. Rain or shine, we're in there. We've got some nice indoor seating, so it's great to come any time of year or weather. We have outdoor seating as well, but if it's a little rainy or chilly, we're happy to have you inside.
And nice pastel colors, too, when you first walk in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we kind of, the name of the store being Yogurtini, we play off a little bit of the martini glass in our decor and some of our signage and things like that and kind of make it fun and different. So.
Great location for you moms and dads driving to CNU especially. You got your kids coming back to school in a few weeks, and high school starts back, of course, after Labor Day. Perfect, convenient location right there. In fact, if you live there, you can just walk right downstairs or walk across the street, whatever. Just a wonderful little facility right there. Of course, give us once again all the good stuff, your hours, and, of course, Facebook as well.
We're open from 11:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. We have a Facebook, and if you like us, we do some special, we have special days on there with, buy one, get one free kind of things. So it's just, Yoga News on Facebook. And we also do, just real quick, we'll do fundraisers for local groups or school groups or anything like that and, donate back 15% of the sales. So, we're right there. We're catering. We're going to get into some of that, and we do a discount for military too. They get a 10% off discount. So, check us out on our website or on there on Greg's Hampton Roads online mall.
Yeah, .com. Absolutely. You can link it right there. And, of course, I take care of my good friend Catherine right there, of course, at HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. And, Catherine, of course, thanks for all that you do. And, of course, right there on Wark Boulevard, convenient location. There's always the expression, Catherine, eat dessert first, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. Get some yogurt. All right. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
All right, Greg. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Ken, of course, I want to get your thoughts, too, before we continue going from yogurt to we know Mork and Mindy and Robin Williams passing away. It caught everybody's surprise, but just because you're rich or you have a lot of money or you never know what goes behind closed doors with people, whether they're smiling on the outside but miserable in the inside. And it sounds just like he was a lonely soul no matter what attention he got.
It was very telling to me early on in his career when he mentioned having as his idol Jonathan Winters. Jonathan Winters suffered from a serious depression, severe bouts of anger. He had all kind of mental issues. It seemed like a lot of people in the entertainment business are mentally ill one way or the other.
Do you know of anybody, Ken?
Just a few, yeah, myself included. I guess it dates back to the old days when the Kings said, throw the fool out there, and they would entertain because they were just kind of weird. But so when he said that, I thought, okay, in addition to liking all the rapid-fire stuff, he may be feeling a little sympathetic for Jonathan Winters' mental ailments, and apparently it was very similar to Jonathan Winters as far as his mental issues go. It's a tragedy. The performance was a therapy, but his therapy was a two-edged sword. To get up and make people laugh made him feel good, but there was a fear of failure. And then what do you do in between performances? How do you get that high again every time and keep it going? That's why he was so involved in the drugs and the alcohol and tried desperately to fight against that. But there were some demons inside Robin Williams that we still don't really have a clear view of. And sadly, the demons finally won out.
And a lot of times those actors and movie stars, they wear sunglasses not for the sun, just to block the public off. And I know that for a fact. And even us, Ken, we've been in TV and radio since we've been teenagers, us that are in the public eye, sometimes just because we're public, we like our privacy and respect as well. Doesn't mean we always want to be in a group setting and one thing is to perform, one thing is for privacy. There's two separate entities altogether.
Of course, with me, I'm always on. So if I'm out somewhere and you say, do a voice, I'm always on.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. All right, Ken, we got highlights coming up right here on Sports Scene at 12:48.
Nor'easter season is here, so don't get all wet.
Protect your house. Call Crawl Space Door Systems at 363-0005. Reduce your flood insurance, reduce the threat of mold and insects, and save energy. Crawl Space Doors, air vents, flood vents, vent covers, and fans can help you stay dry or get you dry quickly. Contact Crawl Space Doors for more information at 363-0005 or online at crawlspacedores.com. Stay dry, my friends.
Fink's Car Care is your place for all of your automotive needs. They handle state inspections, brakes, tune-ups, oil changes, transmission service, radiator repair. They have a wide variety of tires, and when it comes to your car, they do it all. Visit their 2 locations at 2711 Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth and 2236 South Military Highway in Chesapeake. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio. It's now time for Greg's Highlights on Sports Scene, presented by GJBTV.com Marketplace Sponsors Page.
Thank you, Ken. Wish everybody was as competent as Ken Johnson was. That is for sure. He is the best in production in Hampton Roads, bar none. GJBTV.com archive shows. Click the YouTube link for archive shows. Shop on the marketplace sponsors of GJBTV.com and Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Find me at Twitter at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com. Save the date each Wednesday for 12 to 1 for Sports Scene, live local sports talk at a convenient hour, talking with you and to you, not at you. This is the business sports spotlight scene coming up. You just heard from Yogurtini, What Tees Me Off, sports highlights on NNPSTV.com, GJBTV.com. Still the hot heat dominates our area. Please drive careful. And if you're going to go swimming, folks, swim with a buddy as well. 5 Points Family Diner, 6144 Chesapeake Boulevard in Norfolk. Give them a call at 855-0100. Chicken fingers, seafood, pasta, wings, burgers, liver and onions, meatloaf. They got cheeseburgers, chicken salad, chopped steak, flounder, spaghetti. Hassan's got it going on. Give them a call at 855-0100. Open daily, of course. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Home-style cooking. All you can eat chicken and dumplings for $6.99 on Wednesdays. Go by there right now. 6144 Chesapeake Boulevard in Norfolk. You'll be glad you did. Affordable cooking, folks. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. 7 days a week. $2.99. Egg special with toast and home fries for $2.99 from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 5 Points Family Diner. And, of course, a lot of stuff coming up, including What Tees Me Off. We'll come back to our next guest after these messages live on Sports Scene.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today. Your family and their safety are your number one priority. Your home, your business, and quality of life provide peace of mind. Your security can be enhanced with the proper firearms and ammo from Battlefield Guns and Ammo. Never take anything for granted, whether you're at home or away. Call 757-410-7720, log on to battlefield-guns.com, and visit Battlefield Guns and Ammo at 240 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
And Ken Johnson and I are doing our thing every day right here on News Talk 1650 WHKT. Right here, live, local radio, sports talk. You got it. We do it right here at convenient hour. Of course, they let all the tourists out there listening on TuneIn.com. Listen on your phone. Ken, I was listening in Puerto Rico to your archive show that we did with the Fan Forum a few weeks ago. It's great that you can listen to this show anywhere in the world on your phone or your computer. How technology has changed since we had to cut tape several years ago when we worked at another News Talk station, or we had to get a cassette tape and get it in the mail, Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Or on the old vinyl records, pre-vinyl. I can't even think what it was called. Acetate, the old acetate record.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you, folks, I bought my mattress at Metropolis. It's even got a Greek name to it. My good buddy, Rob Rooks. You can find him on Facebook and Twitter. Rob, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Greg.
Very good. Tell us about Metropolis. It really is a Metropolis.
That's right. I mean, we've got some great deals going on for the summer sale. I wanted to highlight a couple things. We're having a great Labor Day sale. We've got some 0% financing going on, great student discounts, teacher discounts for the new school year that's starting up. So we're really excited about what's coming up in the next couple months.
Rob, talk about your address. What a convenient location for Ken and I, who grew up on the peninsula and the south side both. Newtown Road, it really is the ideal location of anywhere in Hampton Roads.
Yeah, we've got a great spot right here. We're right off the interstate in between Virginia Beach Boulevard, right on Newtown Road. We're right in the middle of pretty much every city that you could live in this area. So it's really convenient. We offer some great deals on delivery to anywhere in the 7 cities. So wherever you're at in the Hampton Roads area, it's a great location to come to get your next mattress set.
All right, go ahead and plug your Facebook page and website.
Sure. Our Facebook page is, of course, Metropolis, our name. You search that up in Facebook. We're the only ones on there. Great reviews on there. It's got some good specials, a couple coupons you can click on to bring into the store. And, of course, our website, metropolisva.com. Go on there, check out some of the stuff that we offer. We've got some great discounts on there, too. You can go to our web store, check out some of our products. And, of course, we have our location. You can come in and actually test them out yourself.
It seems like, too, Rob, that we're in a society now that everybody is on 24/7 with our phones, that you're basically working 24/7, too. You are so convenient. You'll cater to anybody in Hampton Roads.
That's correct, and especially with you can contact us on our Facebook page. As a matter of fact, I just helped a couple the other night. About 11:30 at night, I got a message on Facebook. Went ahead and set them up with a couple pictures and stuff like that of the things that we offer, and we were able to come to a deal. So, I mean, it's a great thing with social media nowadays, great advertising. You can reach a lot more people.
Yep. Give us your phone number and your address.
Sure. It's phone number is going to be 757-499-0844, and our address is 368 Newtown Road, Virginia Beach, 23462. And like I said, we're right off the interstate in between Virginia Beach Boulevard and the on-ramp.
And leave us with what's going on in August.
We've got a great Labor Day sale, like I said, coming up. There's going to be 0% financing. Our Serta products, they're offering some great VIP rewards programs where you can get up to $1,000 back when you purchase a Serta iComfort or iSeries. Got some great deals going on with King Coil, Park Place. And we also got some great new mattresses in from Therapeutic, double-sided mattresses. Excellent product.
Rob, all the best to you and your family, my friend. I bought my mattress from you. I love it. And
I hope you do.
And you can see it right there on gjbtv.com. You can see Rob's link right there on the homepage. All the best to you and your family. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thanks, Greg. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure. All right, Rob Rooks right there, Ken from Metropolis. Before we get to what tees me off, Ken will get that set for you. Don't forget 5 Points Family Diner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 6144 Chesapeake Boulevard in Norfolk. The phone number is 855-0100. Chicken fingers, seafood, pasta, wings, burgers, liver, and onions, open 7 days a week. Home-style cooking, affordable cooking. Today is Wednesday, chicken and dumplings all day long right there going on. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, $2.99. Breakfast specials from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's affordable, folks. 2 eggs, toast, home fries from Hassan. Great style cooking, big style portions. Military police go by there. 5 Points Family Diner, the white and blue sign in Norfolk. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 6144 Chesapeake Boulevard in Norfolk. 855-0100. Ken, what tees me off?
What tees you off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
Ken, feet dangling out of the car windows.
I understand why people want to do that.
Last week it was the dog we talked about. Jaywalking, Ken, in the middle of any intersection.
Yeah, that's true. There's a safe way to cross the street and not cross the street, and I see bicyclists doing it all the time. They get to a road intersection, and they ride it across. The law says you dismount the bicycle, and you walk it across the intersection. Nobody does that.
Right. People strolling kids on busy highways. Really, you shouldn't be a parent if you do it.
That makes me cringe every time, and half the time they don't have them by the hand.
And they're texting and talking as well.
Yeah.
Erratic driving in parking lots, Ken, especially at big department stores where kids are running rampant.
We just about got creamed over at Sam's Club on Virginia Beach Boulevard about a week ago. Coming out of the store, these 4 dudes in one of those Fast and Furious cars comes whipping around the side doing about 40 miles an hour. If we'd stepped out of the store maybe a minute sooner, we'd have gone up in the air.
People cutting lines in general, then saying, "Oh, I thought I was here first." Ladies are first, ma'am. Yes, you are first.
Yeah, they'll try there's so many people trying to get ahead of and get on over other people. I don't understand it. Why not be honest? Why not be patient? Why not be a good citizen and a good person?
Yeah, I used to like Shark Week, but you know what? There's sharks in the water. We get it. We get it. We get it. The Kardashians, I can't say it enough. I've said it before. If Mr. Kardashian was still alive, he would be rolling in his grave right now. He was the only decent Kardashian there was. Ken, never have got this, no matter what decade. Hanging out at convenience stores. Who hangs out at convenience stores? Please get a life. Don't hang out at convenience stores. The tourists in Virginia Beach don't want to see you.
I don't understand. What is there at a convenience store? I mean, there's food and drink, yeah, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of entertainment value.
You're not going to play poker or win the lottery. Well, you might win the lottery, but who knows? Of course, in the highlights, of course, Rory McIlroy, Tony Stewart, Ken, that was an unfortunate incident where he ran over the kid. He says he didn't, but you got to remember, in the heat of the moment, sometimes your mind is over matter. Preseason football games, nobody cares except in Cleveland, it's obvious, with Johnny Manziel. Great guest today, Phil Wood, of course, Catherine Kelley, Rob Rooks. Go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link, go to HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com and nnpstv.com for great archive radio and TV content. For Ken Johnson, happy Wednesday. I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll see you next Wednesday at noon for Sports Scene.
Kim Kardashian's not bad as long as she doesn't say anything. Just shut up and let us. AM 1650 WHKT in Portsmouth. Remnant Radio is next. It's 1 p.m.